Honor to everyone that's watching, everyone that's joining. Shata Haya Bell, honor to you. Honor. Make sure everything is working fine. We're gonna give it a few to build up a little bit. We're gonna see if it's gonna build up. I know it's kind of late on my end, but I couldn't. I just had to. I just had to drop this. Had to see if I was gonna do this one. We'll see, because I think they're blocking it anyway. Yeah, they're blocking it because I'm seeing two people in the chat. Tino Francis, it just pops up here now. All right. Before we start, though, let me state my disclaimer. I am full colon Dartman X hyphen TV. I am an Ahuak American, which you call an Arawak, from the American island of Zamaka, which you call on corporate paper Jamaica. I am a sovereign state of being. This platform does not advocate for any form of terroristic activities, any form of hate speech towards anyone. This platform does not advocate for any form of bigotry towards anyone. This platform is for American origines, original Americans, to exchange, communicate with each other, exchange information with each other about our history, culture, identity, and our struggles that we go through every day and success that we go through every day. With that being said, I say peace, love, light to you all, and welcome. So I see that they're tampering with the thing, but we're still gonna do it anyway. So I don't care if they want to tamper with it. If they want to, all folks do is just, if they kick you out of it, if they kick you out the feed, just re-enter back in. If you're not getting the signal on whatever mobile device that you're using, just uh reset your mobile device and come right back in. So someone asked me on Tino Francis, Amina Abdullah, on a someone asked me if I could do something on the Garifuna people, right? And the Garifuna people, it matches up with everything, all the topics that I've been touching on lately. And the reason why it matches up with all the topics that I've been touching on lately is because, like I said, what's going on is genocide. You have genetic genocide, and then these Pan Africans that's pushing to write you out of history, rewrite your history underneath a false identity. That's paper terrorism. Okay, have to start. It's time to start checking these people, because what they're doing is this. I know exactly what they've done. They went down there with that DNA test, and people in South America, people in certain parts of the deep South, people in the islands, they're not too familiar with the whole DNA test thing. But if you tell them, oh, we went ahead and did this DNA test and it says this, that our ancestors also come from someone, and you know and well know it's that it's not true, they're gonna be open to it sometimes, because they're like, well, it's a DNA test. If you test the blood and the blood says so and so, some of them is gonna be like, okay, well then maybe that's what it is. But no, that DNA test is fraudulent, because that DNA test is 0.1% accurate. So this is what they use to try to convince those who are strongly into the understanding of who they are, to try to sell them an African identity. Because the minute you start taking on an African identity, or the minute you let people identify you as African and you don't rebut what they are saying, then other people is going to come in and start classifying you as that. And if you don't correct them, they're going to start taking away your assets, your inheritance from you, because the inheritance are supposed to be for the original Americans, not for folks who are African or African descent or anything outside of original American. So once you start letting folks call you something that is foreign to you, and once you start letting a foreign entity govern you, then you gave up, you pretty much gave up your sovereignty unknown to you. By not doing anything, you gave up your sovereignty. Okay. But we're going to get into it. Give me 1 second. Young Cherokee Peasy, honor to you. Chris Reed, honor to you. Mama Red, honor to you. Abo Collabo, honor to you. The Boy, honor to you. Mikhail Bryant, honor Gretchen Helm, honor to you. All right. Okay. So, like I said, if folks are having a difficult time joining the live, gonna have to start getting a VPN. It's many. They got some VPNs out there. They got some free ones that you could use also as well, because this is Google. So Google try to, Google's just Google. We already know how they operate, right? So for folks who um, that's been telling me this from the other day. So I wanted to start with this article here from Wikipedia. I'm gonna show you how wicked these people are that be writing these things. Black Caribs. That's what they call the Garifuna people. Black Caribs. Mind you, these people don't identify as such. This is such a spit in the face and a big disrespect. Right? If a crime happened to you, but you don't know the crime, how can you bring it to justice? But if you don't know the crime, then I truthfully I don't know what kind of crime is it. Did you get robbed? Did you get beat up? Did someone destroy something of yours? Or you injured? If you're not injured, then there has been no crime committed. If you're not injured, but you could you could go to a civil suit and sue in a civil court, or you could sue do a lawsuit and sue for whatever it is that you feel you got to sue for. All right. All right. So this is being done on the Garifuna people. I'm gonna stay on topic here. Black Carib from Wikipedia. Black Caribs. Again, these people don't identify as Black Caribs, but we're going to get into that to show you how these folks, they literally genocide an entire culture of people with their lies. Black Caribs are an ethnic group native to the island of St. Vincent. You know why they call them Black Caribs? Because the folks from St. Vincent, my best friend, my brother, is his family's from St. Vincent. He's from St. Vincent. They're very dark toned people. Okay? Not all, but a good portion. Very dark toned people. Naturally very dark toned. Right? So this is why you see them calling Black Caribs. That's so disrespectful. Black Caribs are ethnic group native to the island of St. Vincent. Black Carib were historically referred to as Zombos, since they are descendants of island Caribs and enslaved Africans who mixed among themselves in the 18th century. This population retains Caribbean culture and makes up a very small population of the archipelago, representing the 2.0% of the current population of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. That's bull. There are also Black Caribs in Dominica, Grenada, and Trinidad. The history of the Black Caribs is known due to the reports that the British governor William Young sent to the British Crown, in which he explained that the Black Caribs were a mix of Caribs and enslaved Africans from Spanish ships wrecked near the shores. Now, let's correct this right here, right? Because Wikipedia wouldn't let me edit this shit. Now, this is because when people don't know the history, this is the problem here. When folks do not know the history. Now, it says Black Caribs were mixed. That William Young, right? William Young said, because remember, these folks, when they went all over the world, they identified all dark-skinned folks as the freaking same. So if they saw that you were darker than the average copper-colored person that they saw, they automatically assumed that you were African, right? Because like I said, the folks from St. Vincent, a lot of them are very dark of you. Like, it's not lying to what the depiction is in this side picture right here. They are like this dark. Well, not exactly that dark, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? But anyway, so look. Now, the Spaniards were the first to invade the Americas. The Spaniards were the first to invade the Americas. The Spaniards, when they came here, they weren't going to Africa and bringing slaves back from Africa into the Americas. They were enslaving, capturing them as prisoners of war. The Americans, the original Americans. So now, this person says Black Caribs were, that William Young said that Black Caribs were a mix of Caribs and enslaved Africans. That's not true. And this is how you can know that it's not true. From a Spanish ship's wrecked near its shores, they're assuming they're Africans. They're assuming that. That's a guess, and that's incorrect, because the Spaniards were enslaving, were capturing original Americans as prisoners of war in the Americas and putting them to work. So they didn't go to Africa and get these slaves. Okay? That's one. These reports were read and taken as reference by many chroniclers and later historians. However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, the Garifunas are descendants of Black Caribs in the mainland of Central America. So they correct that shit, right? Correct that shit. Because remember, they're calling the Garifuna Caribs, but the Garifuna are not Caribs. Garifunas are Arawaks. Now, the Caribs come from the mainland, yes, of South America. They did. The Caribs are what you call the Caribanas. They come from Caribana because they're the Caribana people. That's who the Caribs are. Okay, so the Caribs are a different set of Indians, are a different set of American origines than the Garifuna. The Caribs are not Arawaks, all right, but they are dark-skinned brothers and sisters, brown of you skinned brothers and sisters. They originally are. Okay. Okay, so these reports were read and taken as reference by many chroniclers and later historians. However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, the Garifunas are descendants of Black Caribs in the mainland of Central America of the 20th and 21st century, such as Itarala, have their own concept of the origin of the Black Caribs. According to them, the African ancestors of the Black Caribs come from other Caribbean islands and migrated. Now, Pete, according to them, now again, this is where the author is putting African. These people never said African. These people said the ancestors of the Caribs come from other Caribbean islands and migrated to St. Vincent as refugees to escape slavery and as slaves bought by the Carib Amerindians. Okay? So if they were bought by the Carib Amerindians, right, then they were not Carib Indians. They were Arawaks, because the Arawaks and Caribs throughout history, how history tells it, have known to have warred with each other. Okay? These people are added into African. And I don't like, they know that you see the folks who are writing these things, you got to remember they work for the opposition, they work for the foreigners, they work for the foreign. All right, that's who they work for. So they getting paid to spread this fictitious, vicious, or misleading article about our people. Because every time they throw the African title on you, African American, Black African, every time they throw those titles on you, it takes you away from the land, and it gives these people the right to come on the land and build up more real estate while they're pushing you out of the areas that they're building up, pulling in more of their people, and then boom, next minute you know you're living in the slums, or you don't have no home at all, and you're on the bus like back in like what they did in New York back in during I think it was the Bloomberg or Giuliani administration, when they took all the homeless people out of Manhattan and put them on buses, and no one know where they are till this very goddamn day. Right? But anyway, such as okay, so have their own concept of the origin of the Black Caribs. According to them, the African ancestors. They never said the African ancestors. We gotta start pointing out when these authors are inputting their own shit. According to them, the African ancestors of the Black Caribs. Now we know, again, listen to how they wrote this shit. Let's start this shit from the beginning so y'all could get really understand how they wrote this shit, right? So make you know where they're lying at, where they're throwing in misleading shit because they're trying to create a falsehood, right? Black Caribs are an ethnic group native to the island of St. Vincent. Black Caribs were historically referred to as Zombos, since they are descendants of island Caribs. And look how they show you the island Caribs in the picture right there. They're descendants of that. So that means they can't be freaking Africans, right? Descendants of island Caribs and enslaved Africans who mixed among themselves in the 18th century. Bullshit. This population retains Caribbean culture and makes up a very small population of the archipelago, representing the 2% of the current population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There are also Black Caribs in Dominica, Grenada, and Trinidad. The history of the Black Caribs is known due to reports that the British governor, William Young, sent to the British Crown, in which he explained that the Black Caribs were a mix of Caribs and enslaved Africans from Spanish ships wrecked near its shores. These reports were read and taken as a reference by many chroniclers and later historians. However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, the Garifunas are descendants of Black Caribs in the mainland of Central America. No more African. You see that? Because they're not descendants of Africans. All that African stuff was the author added in that into the story. All that is made up. All right. And when he tried to say that, like they're a minor amount of the look, if there were Africans that was brought here to the Americas, like I said, the numbers will be very minimal. So you can't go around talking about, well, If you had 90,000 Africans that came to the Americas and there was over 50 million Negroes already here, you can't come and say, well, since these 90,000 was here, well, we're just going to call all the other 50 million African descent. That's not true. Because if you understand tribal culture don't mix with anything outside of it. They'll mix with other tribes from the same hemisphere, but they will not mix with folks that is not from the hemisphere, not from the land, not from the continent. They will not. Hence, you will have separate freaking communities. There is no Africans. These are fictitious, made up stories. Because once they start identifying you as African descent, it takes away you being of any form of West Indian, Carib, however they want to identify you as any form of American descent. Okay? And when you put the African before everything else, then it takes you away from the land. Inheritance of the land. Thus, you're going to have the Spaniards that's going to come in and claim the land. Then you're going to have who they call the Caucasians today come in and claim the land. Then you're going to have. Hold on, I just seen something funny just happen here. Hold on, y'all. See that? So the hacker just joined in. It wasn't like this. I just had it on this. The screen was big like this, and all of a sudden the screen just changed and went down to this. So whoever's the person that's hacking my shit, they just joined in to try to fuck with us. Let's see if all right, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Could you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, press 1. Press 1 if you can hear me. Yeah, so the person is in here, so they're going to be tampering with the feed. All right, I knew it as soon as because I'm looking at it on my phone. As soon as the screen went from how I had it to going back to this to that two showing like 2 people in here. There's the only time the screen gets like this, and this see right here is where one person will be, and this is me down here. So there's someone else right here. That's what this little box is for right here. There's someone else in here watching the feed now. So that person done logged on into my shit. So this person has to have the stream key for you for the YouTube and all that shit. Right? But anyway, let's get back to it. Let's hurt some feelings. Let's get back to it. Because the ancestral spirit just told me to do this. So we're gonna do this. Now, when they're calling them Africans, right? They done said that they're descendants of Caribs. So if they're descendants of Caribs, they're not descendants of. You can't. Once they put the African before anything else, okay, it takes you away from the land. Period. Because then they start calling you African descent. And when they're saying African descent, they're trying to say that your people came from Africa and nowhere else. All right. None of this. These people are not mixed with no African blood, no, none of that. Okay? All this is fabricated. The author fabricated the whole African into it because you can't say, well, the Caribs, well, the black Caribs were a mix of Caribs and enslaved Africans from Spanish ships wrecked near its shores. When the Spaniards came to the Americas, they started off enslaving the Americans, us, the original Americans, not no Africans. So if you find a wrecked Spaniard ship, you're not finding Africans as slaves on that Spaniard ship. You're going to find the Negroid original Americans because they was taking you from one island to another from one end of America to the other end of America, from south to north, from north to south. Right? See, the person clicked off my shit again. Look, I think you know what? I think these are the folks from StreamYard effing with my stuff. You know, on some real stuff because look, and they did it. They clicked it off. Right? So look, I'm gonna put it back and let's see. Back to this. Now, Pete. So it says these reports were read and taken as reference to by many chroniclers and later historians. However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, the Garifunas are descendants of Black Caribs in the mainland of Central America. They're the descendants of Caribs in the mainland of Central America. Now, the Caribs come from Caribana. The Garifunas are Arawaks, right? The Arawaks come from the area that they call Anaahua in Central America. Okay? And the Caribs come from Caribana in Central America. Okay? But this is this is something that I showed on the old maps, before. Right, so on the very old maps, I showed this on the old maps before of where Caribana is, where down towards Mexico is Caribana, and you know this is why it's important to have these maps from the 1400s, 1500s, you know, coming on up because it shows the lies that these folks are trying to push in these articles right here. Okay, now look how they drew the Garifuna here. These ain't no Africans; these are the original people of St. Vincent, of the Grenadines, of Honduras. These are the original people. And there goes the colonizers here. And what you're seeing here is them with this fabricated picture talking about these folks came to treaty with them. Mind you, these folks, do they look like they know what a lawyer is? Because when these folks came here, when the colonizers came here, they came with their esquires. So the person that you see with the documents right here in their hand, that's the lawyer. That's the lawyer. That's the lawyer that drafted up the documentations. These people ain't trying to look at that shit. Okay. Now, it's going to tell you that they're the Garifuna people. Okay, these reports historians. However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, right? However, researchers of history and Garifuna language, the Garifunas are descendants of Black Caribs in the mainland of Central America. See, of the 20th and 21st centuries, such as Itarala, have their own concept of the origin of the Black Caribs. According to them, African ancestors of the Black Caribs come from other Caribbean islands and migrated to St. Vincent as refugees to escape slavery and slaves brought by the Carib Amerindians. Oh my God. Anyway, so yes, the Caribs were documented, you know, to be a warring people that went throughout the islands and was warring, trying to conquer the islands. Right? This is how they wrote it. This is how they wrote the history. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe none of that shit. None of that shit. I don't believe it. So I don't want to talk about it. I don't even believe it. I'd have to start seeing some proof, and I have yet to see any proof that people have sent, that anyone has sent. Right? But see what they call the Caribs? Amerindians. Okay, we know Amerindians are also original peoples of America, and the Caribs are dark like this. Okay, so if the Garifunas are descendants of the Caribs, then this is what the Caribs also look like as well. Dark and brown skin, brown of hue people. All right. Now there's an article. Did I save it? I don't know if I saved it, where they're trying to say that, because I want you to pay attention to what they're doing in today's society. They're trying to say that Negroes and Negroid people came from Caucasians today. This is what they're showing when they keep showing you in these movies. This is what they're leading up to, the big thing that they're leading up to, because there's an article, I think I have it though. The article is going to say that these folks are descendants that came from the the yellow people called Garifuna. We know yellow to mean Asian, right? So now they're trying to give these Asian looking people, these are the Spaniards, the chinky eyed looking Asian mixture Spaniards that came to colonize the Americas before the who you call Caucasians today. So now that article is just to give them an excuse to try to say that they're the original people of the land and to try to say that the Garifunas are not, right? To give them an excuse to why they're on the land, right? But we're going to get to that soon. So we could get up out of this. So this is how they're showing them right here, right? What they call them black Caribs. These are the original people of the land, okay? All that African shit is bullshit, and we're gonna seal that too. So we're gonna show you what's going on. Let me see which article is this. This archive says. Let me see which one this is. What? Who's that peeping through the window? Yo. That's good. All right, so the Garifuna way of life is under threat. Colonizer, 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 colonizer. Probably these are the mixed blood. Colonizer, colonizer, colonizer. You see these little short Mexican looking folks? Spaniards that came here first and colonized. Okay. You said it's blurred. Now that might be your thing D Butler. Check your thing and see what the hell is this? What the hell is it? Check your thing and see your connection. All right. You know, it's not. I don't know. It's not blurred over here on this end. Let me go back and check the screen. Let me check the screen and see, because it's not showing blurred for me. So let me do this. Let me do this here and click on it here from here and check it and see what's going on. It's clear, right? Yeah. So that's your connection, D Francis. After this, I'm going straight through. I'm not stopping anymore. No more distractions. All right, that's good. I don't gotta load this shit up. Back over here. Let's go back to here. All right, so it says this is from Teles Teleshore English, telesshoreenglish.net. Right? And this article is saying the Garifuna way of life is under threat. Garifuna is the mix of Arawaks, see, Caribs, and African slaves in the British Caribbean colonies deported from St. Vincent Island in 1797. If they were deported from St. Vincent, yeah, they were deported. Now, if you're going to deport someone, you're going to deport them back home to where they came from. So if they were descendants of African slaves, they would have sent them back to Africa. They didn't do that. Right? So that kills that right there. Now, they were calling them all throughout Black Caribs in the last article, right? Just to show you something. Calling them black Caribs in the last article, but here it starts off saying Carafuna is the mix of Arawaks, right? Caribs, and then they try to put on the African slaves. Garafunas are Arawaks, okay? If the history is true about the Arawaks and the Caribs, then the Arawaks and the Caribs are mixed people. But there's no African slaves in our ancestry. All right. But there ain't none in my ancestry. And I'm speaking from an Arawak standpoint, from my bloodline. All right. Of my intermediate family. There's no African slaves in that history. Period. Now, if they got deported from St. Vincent, right? They were deported from St. Vincent in 1797, who then they spread along the Atlantic coast of Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. The thing is, these are Arawakan territories. These are Arawak territories. Okay? You could call them Carib territories too if the history is true and the Arawaks and the Caribs did intermix like that. Then it'll be both territories of both. But there's no African slaves in the in the ancestry. The Garifuna people have been forced out of their homeland and they want justice. They are descendants of West Africans. Now they're descendants of West Africans. Central African. Now they're descendants of Central African. They just throwing shit out there. Island Carib and Arawak people, and they live primarily along Latin American coast. Really. According to Garifuna spokesman Carla Garcia, the tourism industry. Now, here's why we're going to get to the meat and potatoes. This is why they have to identify you as something that you're not. Because if they don't do that, then they can't do this that's coming up. Like when I was breaking down the video that they banned worldwide, right? Of that black people are doing it to themselves. That video with the National Geographic video of me showing you that they're stealing original American artifacts out of the West Indian waters, out of the waters off the coast of Florida, South Carolina, and California, and they're wrongfully labeling them as African artifacts, and they are not African artifacts. That video that they banned worldwide for 1 minute of the footage, you know that when I went back today to go break down that footage that they banned worldwide and blocked the video, you know that video that I did earlier today is still up. But the one that I did that they banned, they still won't let it go up. And I remember I played the same exact footage that they claim had copyright content. The same exact footage. That means the video was 100% on point with what it was saying about the theft of a history and the genetic genocide that's taking place amongst our people, and the whole sorority fraternal order on people going around trying to convince us ever since the creation of the Prince Hall Temple, trying to convince us that we are Africans and we are not. Okay. So here we go. So it says, according to Garifuna spokesperson Carla Garcia, the tourism industry of Central America's coastal region started picking up 20 years ago. This led to increased investors' interest, but a loss in the sovereignty of the Garifuna over their land. Here's why the loss of the sovereignty. Although they still didn't lose their sovereignty, it's the illusion to make them think they lost their sovereignty. This right here, the West African and Central African. And take notes for all you Negroes out there, Negro people out there talking about you want you want reparations for Black American Indians. You will never get reparations for Black American Indians because there's no such thing. You just now killed yourself and took yourself away from the land. So when these folks are dropping in their articles nonstop that these people are West Africans, Central Africans, what they did was killed an entire generation, an entire ancestry, entire nationality. They killed an entire nationality of people, right? Killed them in paper, with paperwork. These articles killed these people original identity of to whom they are. And once they did that, the international world was like, oh, well, they're not contesting that they're not Africans because these folks don't know that these people are doing this shit. They don't know. They only know that, well, we don't identify as that, and then if they do know, their thing is, well, we don't identify as that, but they're not going to think that, well, because these folks are still running their mouth calling them Africans, that it means that by that they reneged on their land and that the colonizers can claim eminent domain and take away the land or take over the land until they come back to their senses of who they are and proclaim back their sovereignty. This is why you don't let people call you no West African, no Central African, no South African, no none of that shit. No, nothing that doesn't identify with your nationality, your rightful and truthful nationality. Right? These folks are liars. Now, where it says related Garifuna families denounce state mandated eviction. When you click on this, they won't even show you what the Garifuna people look like. They trying to show you some of them little chinky eye Mexican looking people, right? At first, and they only show like one or two of them, but then they show a mass crowd. Now they show a mass crowd. Look like it's over like probably 300,000-400,000. Yeah, and they blur it. But you can see, like how you see right here in Haiti, the picture of the folks here in Haiti right here that they're showing. You can see the darkness of the imagery of the people still, right? But they still show like one or two of, like I said, the colonizers faces up front to make you think that they're speaking of these these yellow skin Asians that are occupying the land underneath the guise as if they are the original Spaniards, and they are not. The original Spaniards you're looking at are the Garifuna. Okay, they're the original Spaniards of Honduras and so on and so. Now let's keep going. To attract and sustain this growing tourist, honor, brother, honor. To attract and sustain this growing tourism product, the Garifuna people were forced to migrate, giving way to international investors. What did I just say? And that's what I said on the other thing. This is what this is all about. The Americans have the richest lands. The Americans are more profitable than anywhere else in the world. And they need the original people to lose identity, not identify with the land, so that they can come and like I said, claim eminent domain and take over the land, because you gave up your sovereignty. You gave up your inheritance, which is this hemisphere, because you start identifying as something that is foreign to you, something outside of self, right? Or you let others identify you as something that's foreign to you and didn't check them or correct them. So the world looks at you as this African this and this African that, and you're not. All right. Now we could get out of this article, and we're going to get it straight from the horse's mouth itself. We close out this one right here also. Now, two footages I want to play for y'all, right? I'll play two footages for y'all to show you how wicked, again, these people are, right? And what their agenda is. I'm gonna have to turn this one real low. Turn it down real low, right? Because I don't want these folks to come up with no excuses with don't copyright this and that. Even though I reserve all rights and liberties, right? And this is public information put out there for the public. YouTube is a public forum in the public, and it is, and these other platforms are public platforms open for critique of their work that they post on their page, on their platform. All rights, liberties, remedies reserved. Okay, so this is from Quelly TV. Okay, now I'm going to give y'all the link. So let me get the link ready right now for you guys, so that you guys can check it later on. All right, let's see what I'm saying. Give y'all the link right now. Okay, so all right. So that's the link to the video that I'm about to play because I'm going to turn it down. So you're going to have to read like the subtitles, all right? But I already saw this video. So pretty much it starts black African descent, right? Well, I think I can play a little part of it. Let me just turn down the volume some. All right, so just listen keenly, okay?
Have you heard of the only enslaved African descendants in Central America?
You know what he said? Have you ever heard of the only unslaved? Right? Then he throw in the African descendants in Central America. Well, if they weren't slaves and they were unslaved, if they weren't slaves, then there's nowhere in hell that they could be Africans because y'all say that Africans came over here as slaves, but you said that these are the only unslaved. So how are they Africans? Because he added in that. He added the African, right? But anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
How can a culture so unknown preserve its legacy? On our land.
Now, peep. Now, you see on our land, you see that? All the Negroid people here? And this is the admixture. This is the mix of the original Negroids of the Americas, of Honduras. And this is with the mixture of, again, the Spaniard colonizer foreign entities that came upon the land. This is what you get right here. Not no African anything, okay? Now, the Spaniard, you consider the Spaniard then to be the African, the Mexican looking folks now today, you consider them to be the Africans due to the fact that, again, a continent is a continuum body of a landmass, right? And they come from the Western Hemisphere, the Eastern Hemisphere, okay? So since they come from the Eastern Hemisphere, then they will be considered Africans. Remember, when you trace back their history goes back up into the Middle East and what you call the Asian territories. All right, because remember before it was that continent was called Africa, it was called Asia. Okay, I think it's Asia Minor or Asia Major. But anyway, let's keep going.
Garifuna in Honduras. Mi nombre es Nelson Herrera, soy Garifuna. My name is Jose Mary.
My name is Amina Arsu, and I was born in the U.S., but I'm still Garifuna.
Now pay attention, right? None of them ain't saying nothing about no African descent. Now she says she was born in the U.S. Now you see, they don't say America, right? They said the U.S. Now remember, when you look at the old maps don't say nothing about no U.S., no nothing about no USA. The old maps just says America, America, American, right? Americana. Like this is what it says. The U.S., the USA, these are foreign. Okay. When you go back to the oldest dates, it just says America. All right. So when she's saying US, unknown to her, it's really she's saying that she was born into the corporation, the corporate entity. Okay. She's saying that she was born into the corporation, the corporate entity, because that's what the U.S. is, right? But she's a Garifuna American. Okay, now let's keep going though. But you see what they look like. You see what they look like. They're gonna tamper with the feed now. See that? Now watch this elder. Listen to what the elder says. Elder says Garifuna, nothing less, meaning nothing else. Garifuna, right? So all that African stuff that person started off with this video about, they added that in. These people don't call themselves that. These people who are trying to tell their story for their own personal gain are adding in the whole African identity in this stuff to take. This is the only way they could take these people off their land if they wrongfully identify you as something that you are not. If you tell a lie enough times, people are going to start believing it's the truth. Okay? And then you're going to be in for a fight, because then it's going to seem like no matter what you do or say, folks are not going to believe you who are saying that it's a lie. They rather believe the lie than the truth. We can get off of this video. Yeah, we can get off this video. Now, peep this. Here we go. All right. Now, straight from the horse's mouth itself. Right? Now, watch it. Listen to what this is saying. Okay? This is Garifuna American Heritage Month celebration. Okay? And this is something that takes place in New York, I think every year. So here we go.
Welcome back to Open. Our next guest joins to tell us about the Garifuna American.
So we say fair use. This is Garifuna Heritage Month by what's the name of this platform? Public access open bar. Okay, so this is Javier E. Gomez. And you heard how I said it? I didn't say Javier or Javier, Javier, because the J is ha, right? Javier. But anyway, so let's play it out.
American Heritage Month celebration happening in Brooklyn this Friday. We now welcome Zulma Arzu Brown, Executive Director of the Garifuna Coalition USA, Inc. Welcome, Zulma. Bienvenida.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Es un placer estar aquí.
And look, they title it Garifuna American. No, they don't title it no African, no nothing, none of that. Garifuna American. And see what she looked like?
It is a pleasure to have you here. We're talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is the Garifuna community in our great borough.
Oh, isn't that interesting? It's one of my favorite subjects, too.
I bet. Well, tell us about it. You are commemorating the Garifuna American Heritage Month.
Now look, this is a colonizer Spaniard, right? He's a colonizer Spaniard. Now he knows who she is. He knows who the Garifunas are. He knows. So when I'm telling you that you are doing it to yourself with this misidentifying, wrongful labeling, or you're allowing folks to go around misidentifying you as something that you're not, it's only creating a bigger chaos for you than anything else. Because when the time comes and you think that these people come down with their military forces or whatever to come shut your stuff down, you're going to be like, oh, but we're not so-and-so. It's going to be too little too late. You should have said something before. Right? Or you sit there and you know that these people are wrongfully identifying you, you're not checking them. You're just staying there silent. You're not checking them. He knows. He knows who she is. He knows who the Garifunas are. That's why he's sitting down there with her. Okay?
Month.
Yes.
What's that about?
It's all about, number one, it begins March 11th through April 12th, right? And it's about bringing awareness to the Garifuna community who has contributed so much to the fabric of New York. March 11th, 1795 was the day that we were forcibly removed from the island of St. Vincent and put in convoy ships. God knows where we were supposed to be. We're not sure if there was to be enslaved.
Ha! Y'all heard that? What did I say? Now, when I was breaking down the history, what was it yesterday, right? When we was going over that video when they was talking about, oh, we found the African slave ships in the waters, and I'm like, yo, those aren't African slave ships. Hear what she said? They were forcibly removed from St. Vincent. She didn't know if they were going to be enslaved or what. Forcibly removed from St. Vincent. That's in 1797. Now, remember that article that we read that tried to mark them as Africans, African slaves or descendants of African slaves? You see, when you let people tell your history, they will make up and lie. Now, she's telling her history, her people's history, and she's letting you know that they're Garifuna Americans. They were forcibly removed from the island of St. Vincent and brought down into other parts of the Americas. Like I said, this is why when you go on slavevoyage.org, they can't give you a point of origin of where the supposed slave ship left from to end up in the point of origin of where it disembarked at in the Americas. Why? Because they were taking our people from the Americas, from one island to the next, from north to south, from south to north, all throughout the Americas. And this is how people think that, oh, they came over on slave boats from Africa. But you didn't. Yeah, our ancestors did not. Let's keep going.
We're not sure if it was to
Back it up.
number one, it begins March 11th through April 12th, right? And it's about bringing awareness to the Garifuna community who has contributed so much to the fabric of New York. March 11th, 1795 was the day that we were forcibly removed from the island of St. Vincent and put in convoy ships, God knows where we were supposed to be. We're not sure if it was to be enslaved. We're not sure if it was to pretty much make us disappear. But we ended up in the coastline of Central America on April 12th of 1797. And we decided to mark that as a victorious month because we made it and we survived. And now, fast forward, over 215 years later, we're here in the Bronx and we're celebrating that great arrival.
I know it has been a long journey for the Garifuna community to get noticed in New York.
Now, like I said, one of my real close friends, one of my brothers, right? His people is from St. Vincent. They're Garifuna. His mother claims Garifuna. Okay? I've known these people for over 20 years. They don't claim nothing about no African. None of that. And then this community, the community that she's talking about in New York in the Bronx, they also go down into Brooklyn because I used to film and take pictures of them in Prospect Park when they used to always have their music out, the drums playing and stuff like that. And a good portion of them don't like the cameras, but some of them will be like, all right, it's cool, it's fine. They're very secretive when it comes to the culture. And you're going to start seeing that when she's talking, you're going to start getting the gist, the sense of that. But they're open now to being open because they understand the dangers that's going on now with the culture and the original people of the culture. So you have no choice now but to open up and speak on what's going on. Bring awareness, right?
New York, and growing to the point of having your own Heritage Month. How does it make you feel?
I mean, it's a huge accomplishment. We call it, we always refer to it as going from obscurity to the pinnacle of recognition. You know, it took us a long time to really gain the trust of the Garifuna people within our community. And now we're not only gained the trust of the Garifuna community within, we've managed to organize and we've managed to attract people of all different communities to the point that we're being recognized by Senator Ruben Diaz with the Abrazo Garifuna. He also takes us to Albany to proclaim Garifuna American Heritage Month at what was that word? The egg. But we do it at the Senate floor.
Which actually does look like an egg. It's amazing. I don't know if they can find a photo and put it up for people to see.
Oh my God, we'd say the Spanish version.
Right.
That's what
Which
we call
doesn't
it.
sound very flattering.
Exactly. But we celebrate that at the Assembly floor and the Senate.
So again, this is what I'm saying. If you think that these folks that came over from Spain, the colonizers, right, that came over from Spain, if you think they were the original folks that spoke what they call a Spanish tongue, no. He's sitting across from where the language that he speaks come from. Okay, that's what he's doing. All right, that's why she says the Spanish term, right?
And the Senate Hall as well. And then we celebrate the abrazo, which I mentioned. And then we go off to, this was actually the first year where we went to City Hall. And this is something that Council Member Vanessa Gibson did for the very first time. She honored the Garifuna at the chambers this past March as well. And last week we were at the Bronx Borough President's office proclaiming Garifuna American Heritage Month in the Bronx.
It has been a huge month of celebration.
Yes.
Do we know how many Garifuna Americans are there in the Bronx or in New York?
In New York, we have an estimated 200,000 Garifunas, and Garifunas are not just from Honduras, they're from Guatemala, Belize, and Nicaragua as well, and we have them throughout the city, but we estimate 100,000 Garifunas living in the Bronx alone. As a matter of fact, we called our office, which is located on 149th and 3rd Avenue, the Mecca of the Garifuna. I can walk down with you, maybe we'll do it one day, and I'll point out Garifuna, Garifuna, Garifuna. I just recognize my people.
Now, what are some of the contributions made by the Garifuna community in recent years?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of the contributions have been just the culture alone, its richness, right? And we know that we live in the borough that I don't call it a melting pot. I look at it as a huge salad bowl. We're accepted, throughout. I went to school here, and a lot of different cultures and histories have been, taught to us. But now we take the opportunity to teach others about the Garifuna community, to teach children about the Garifuna history. As a matter of fact, we've also took it upon ourselves to really make sure that our culture keeps on going through the Lirahunu Shatuyer Youth Leadership Development Program. And that is a program that promotes education, foster creativity, but most importantly, we teach the young Garifuna Americans all about their history and their culture so that we don't lose it and that they're able to pass it on. And we start.
Heard that? Garifuna Americans. She don't say no African descendants. She don't say no black African descendants. She don't say no black American Indian descendants. She don't say none of that. She simply just says Garifuna American. That's why I say I am an Ahuak American. She identifies with her tribal ancestry. She identifies with nationality. Everyone else that's trying to tell their story is making up the Africa part because it takes the land away from them. Okay? Yes, she's saying Garifuna. She don't identify as African American, none of that. She's saying Garifuna American. Okay? And that's why she's saying that. That's why she was saying, well, she's from the Bronx, so there's a mixture of other cultures, right? That's what she's saying. There's a mixture of other cultures, but they stick to their culture, their identity. They're not straying from that. All right? So that means there are those who call themselves African Americans. They know that they're not Africans, but they know that they're Americans. They're Garifuna Americans. Okay? Those who are calling themselves African Americans, you took yourself away from the land. There's no such thing. Anyway, we can stop that right there. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. Let's get into this. I'm going to say fair use with this. Fair use. And we're going to play this now. This is the Hawaiian video I was telling you about. I'm telling y'all, man. It's called genetic genocide. And it's been done to them. But pay attention. This is what you don't want happening to you. So people think it's cool. It's cool right now, all of this confusion, but it's not.
Within Hawaii. And that
Let me back this up. This is a video I sent you guys about the other day, but I ain't really know. All right. This is from Real Stories. All right, say fair use, fair use. And this is called Hawaii's Hidden Darkness, Conspiracy Documentary, Real Stories. Let's go. This is the whole genocide. Now, Pete, and I said it, I'm gonna say it again. When they breed you out genetically, they're the lighter counterparts that has 1%, 50% of our blood. They are afraid to speak of the original ancestry of where they came, of who the folks were originally on this hemisphere. They stutter, they shake, they man, they talk about everything else. But when it's supposed to come out their mouth, then they come creative and use other terms like natives, and so on and so, right? But then because this is breaking down the one drop blood rule, right? Because after a period of time, they was telling these folks like, yo, if you don't have at least 50% native blood in you, then you're not native. You're not considered to be an Hawaiian. Okay. If they didn't have 50% native blood in them. And now the blood that they're speaking of, because watch how they start this off now. The blood that they're speaking of is dark-skinned folks' blood. Watch. Because this is going to kill this whole, well, we came from Africa as slaves. No, we didn't.
Hawaii. When we think of Hawaii, we think of paradise. Coral sand beaches, coconut palms gently swaying in the ocean breeze, waterfalls, rainbows. Hawaii is all these things and many.
He said they just showed Queen Kaliki Kalani, the Negro Queen of Hawaii, the Negroid Queen of Hawaii. They just showed her. He said he flashing through those images, right? Because look, they're trying. Folks like this that create videos like this is trying to tell you. But you have some Negro that will come along and be like, oh, listen to him, white man, and they say, well, we're African Americans. We come from Africa. Look, pay attention. Let's back it up. Pay attention to the clips, the footages that's flashing before you. They're showing dark-skinned people to be the original Hawaiians.
Hawaii. When we think of Hawaii, we think of paradise. Coral sand beaches, coconut palms gently swaying in the ocean breeze, waterfalls,
look at that.
Rainbows. Hawaii is all these things and many more. In fact, Hawaii has a deep, dark little secret, a secret the U.S. government wouldn't like you to know about.
Now, peep, so when they talk about dark secrets, they're talking about you. All right? They're talking about you. Again, fair use, all rights and liberties
The American
reserved.
agenda tonight, a most significant presidential apology. At the White House yesterday, President Clinton signed a formal letter of apology to the people of Hawaii. He was apologizing on behalf of the U.S. government for the government's involvement 100 years ago in removing the independent Hawaiian monarchy by force. And on the agenda tonight, Hawaiian identity. Native Hawaiians who say, give us back our country.
So now you're going to understand to why they got such a hard fight and why they still fighting these folks who call themselves Hawaiian today. You have to understand because Look, they're ignorant to the science. Look, man, if you are 100% Negroid blood, and then you mate with a Caucasian male or female, that child probably might come out because Negroids have the dominant genes. That child then might come out with the genetics more off the Negroid genetics, probably like 80%, right? Then that child mates with a Caucasian. Then the blood gets brought down to from 80 to about 50 to 40%. Okay. Then that child, right? Then they have a child, and that child mates with a Caucasian. The blood will probably come down to about 1%. This is where you get the one drop blood rule. Okay. So the whole folks on the island now, the Hawaiians on the island now are saying even if they have one drop of blood, they still have say so on the island and still are supposed to have inherited the island because they have that one drop of Negroid blood. Okay, which are the original descendants, right? So I'm gonna play that. Y'all gonna hear it. Y'all gonna hear it. Y'all gonna hear when the old school dude is gonna be talking, and y'all gonna hear it. But you see the thing with your Caucasian counterpart, they look at it like if you have one drop blood, then now you're one of us. You're no longer the original natives or indigenous, however they want to call it, original Americans of Hawaii. You're one of us now. You see what I'm saying? So this is why they going around also still trying to violate a good portion of them. All right, let's keep going.
Touristic Hawaii, hundreds of people demonstrate and the president apologizes. The reason? The United States government, that considers Hawaii the 50th state of the Union, has in fact admitted that a century ago it committed an abuse.
It committed genocide, and they forced themselves upon a land that's not theirs, and forcibly removed folks out of the monarchy out of power, and was forcibly removing Hawaiians off the highlands off the Hawaiian Islands while they illegally invaded Hawaii. This is what our Garifuna people were saying, that they forcibly removed them off of St. Vincent and shipped them up into other parts of South America. Okay. This is crazy. So now you're getting now the story is coming together to what happened to the Negroid Americans, the original Americans of the Americas. Now you're seeing what happened. Like they moved y'all up and down the coast, moved y'all up and down on the mainland to the islands, from the islands to the mainland, from the mainland back to the islands, moved y'all up and down. Then they brought in more of their Spaniard or Europeanized colonizers. And then boom, 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 they started watering down the bloodline, mixing. You see what I'm saying? In certain places, okay? Wiping out the bloodlines. For those who they didn't kill off or wiped out, you know what I mean? That was the next step that they took. Or if they couldn't defeat you in physical warfare, right? They wait till over time to buddy with you. They will give you their females, okay? And next minute, chopping down on the bloodline, okay? And then when the offspring that they want you to create comes to be a good portion of them, then they team up with their colonizing counterpart and they remove you or the originals from out of power. Right? Let's go.
In 1993, the U.S. government passed a law. This was approved by the Congress, the Senate, and ultimately signed into law by President Clinton. And this was a confession, flat out. Public Law 103-150 was a confession. And in that confession, the United States admitted to all sorts of crimes. And
I hope y'all wrote that down. Hope y'all wrote that. He just gave you the law. Hope y'all wrote that down. Now, like I said, it's not that when they try to let a buffer here on my end, I have my VPN, so it's not really doing that for me on my laptop, right? So this is where the VPN kicks in now. This is how I say, guys, like when y'all operating with the computers now, try to get a VPN, all right? Let's continue though.
Further admitted that the Hawaiian nation never relinquished its rights.
But if Hawaii is the 50th state of the Union since 1959, why is it that in 1993, President Bill Clinton apologized for the usurpation the original inhabitants of the archipelago were victims of?
Because they never gave up their
To understand
sovereignty.
the situation,
Every time they try to identify the Hawaiians as something they're
Hawaii
not,
is an
they corrected them like, no,
archipelago
we're
formed by
this.
eight
We're not giving up our sovereignty.
situated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They were probably populated by immigrants from.
Now, see, this is what I was saying about Hawaii, right? When I was showing the video of how they were stealing, how they steal the artifacts out of the waters. I was saying Hawaii is isolated. This is why they got to do what they did to Hawaii. This is why they got to chop off 38,000 heads in Hawaii and all that, right? It's isolated. You see what I'm saying? All the other islands are way back down here or way over this side. Like it's in a further away region. So yeah. So this is why it was so easily captured and colonized.
Probably populated by immigrants from faraway lands.
See?
They created a socially and politically advanced society.
Like this is strategic
Hawaiians,
because I want
Polynesians.
to show you something on that map.
The original inhabitants of the archipelago were victims of. To understand the situation,
Oh
let's
man, I
do
went
some
too far
history.
back. Let's go. It's coming up.
Hawaii is an archipelago formed by 8 islands, situated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They were probably populated by immigrants from.
Now, see where it's situated at? This is why it was important for them to have Hawaii, because now the military, the colonizing force military ships, it want to take them no time to get to each side of the Americas, north or south. Okay, and then the main trading routes are also going through Hawaii. So this is why they locked this down. And then not to forget about the offshore oil drilling, which will be around these areas, right? The offshore oil drilling. Anyway, let's go.
Faraway lands. They created a socially and politically advanced society.
Native Hawaiians are Polynesians. They come from a land they call Kahiki, which is the homeland, and many believe that to be Tahiti or the Marquesas. And perhaps we're here as early as 100 BC, perhaps a little bit later than that. Two-way voyaging continued for many centuries, and then by about the 12th or 13th century, Hawaiians were living here pretty much on their own and developing a much more stratified society. And that led to the development of different island kingdoms here amongst the chain. So we had a kingdom of Kauai, a kingdom of Oahu, kingdom of Maui, and of Hawaii Island.
Its founding king, Kamehameha the Great, unified the societies of the archipelago.
See the complexion of Kamehameha?
The soil began to yield food for the inhabitants of Hawaii. However, the Hawaiian kingdom would not be alone for long. By the same sea from where the original inhabitants of Hawaii came from, visitors from other lands would arrive.
Contact with foreigners of European or American descent comes in 1778 with the arrival of Captain Cook. It is speculated that there may have been other encounters prior to that, but it's not documented.
Now, Pete, 1778. This is when they came into contact with the colonizers. Remember, 1779 is when they were removing the Garifuna from off of St. Vincent up into South America. Okay,
Captain James Cook, a British explorer and sailor, established contact with the inhabitants of Hawaii. In 1794, the British explorer George Vancouver gave the court of King Kamehameha a Union Jack as a token of friendship from King George III. The Hawaiian kingdom added the Union Jack to its own flag as an act of recognition for the gesture of British friendship. In spite of the foreign presence in Hawaii, mainly Britain.
Now, look, here's where they messed up. When they added, back it up a little bit. Back it up some.
King George III.
King George was, I think the King George at that time, also that King George III that they're speaking of at that time, he was also a Negro. He was Negroid. Okay? Wasn't Caucasian. He was actually, he was biracial. All right? Let's keep going.
The Hawaiian kingdom added the Union Jack to its own flag as an.
Now, this is where they became colonized. Never, never, ever do you add another man's symbol on your flag. It doesn't matter what it is. Once you do that, you lost your flag. You lost your flag. You lost your nationality. You lost everything. Because why? Now you gave them dominion over you. But it's unknown to you. Unknown to you. Let's keep going.
An act of recognition for the gesture of British friendship. In spite of the foreign presence in Hawaii, mainly Britain at the time, as well as other ethnic groups, King Kamehameha gave his kingdom its own identity. He gained international recognition.
You see how they drew King Kamehameha? Dark skin, Negroid features. You see that?
1843, the Kingdom of Hawaii was indeed recognized as an independent nation state, as a member of the family of nations, through treaties with the United States, Great Britain, and
What the hell? All right, we're gonna let this commercial get out of here. Goodbye.
France, and I believe about 20 other nations of Europe. And this was meant to secure the sovereignty of the nation through those treaty agreements that were then made.
So pretty much, it's extortion. It's like, yo, pay me for my services of protection, right? Here's a contract. You pay me, we protect you. You can still keep your sovereignty and everything, okay? When you pay me, and I'll protect you, but at the same time, I'm still the person that's extorting you. All right? Yo.
And so from that point on, 1843, the Kingdom of Hawaii is indeed recognized as an independent nation state.
As the monarch consolidated the archipelago as a sovereign state, the Kingdom of Hawaii also created a society of citizens with its own identity.
Okay, so someone also made a good point. E-Rock, that dude, he said they probably told him that to add it so they can sell goods. Yes, because remember, like I said, anywhere you see military ships in sovereign waters, those military ships are there to sanction you. When you see military ships in your water, they're there to sanction you. They're to literally starve you out, stop you from doing business with any of your neighbors, anyone. Okay? So now, When you see those those military ships now what's going to have to happen is you're going to have to be forced to contract with people that you would never contract with. Okay. All right, let's go. That's what they was also doing to Cuba. They sanctioned Cuba. It's called sanctioning. All right. So if you were used to going on a boat and leaving from Cuba to go over to Jamaica to do some trade or some bartering, some trade and bartering and sell goods and buy goods. Ah! Oh man, this is crazy. Wait. All right, could y'all hear me now? If y'all can hear me, press 1. Press 1 if you can hear me. All right, so there. Look, I'm going to keep playing this because I'm gonna keep doing this because what they're trying to do, they're trying to say it's a copyright. There's no copyright here, right? Like I said, the real stories right here did not come and say, "Hey, I'm flagging them for copyright stuff." Again, this is YouTube that's doing that, and like I said, there's someone in here that I showed you guys when exactly when the person came in. There's someone in here along with me trolling the channel, watching the channel, hacking the channel. So when I start showing stuff, and this is a racist, you can tell it's a racist. The person is a bigot, it's a racist person. So when I start showing stuff of our true history, and they block it until I suspend it. That's this person. That's that person doing that. But anyway, let's keep going. All right, so I'm back. Now look, this is what I'm trying to show y'all. There's someone in here with me. This is me here. This is the person right here. This person is who's flagging me, and this person is who's hitting this end broadcast to kick me out when I get to certain portions of these videos. All right, there's someone in here, literally someone in here, and I'm starting to feel like this is these StreamYard people, but this is totally strange. See, it's showing that there's someone in here with me, 2 people, showing that it's 2 people. So there's someone that ghost hacked in here. But anyway, let's get back to it. These aren't even Hawaiians right here that they're showing in this imagery here. Because all I'm going to do, I'm just going to even if this shit is blocked worldwide, I'm going to download this video and put it out on other platforms anyway. These aren't even Hawaiians here that they're showing. These are these dark-skinned Asian folks here. Right? These don't look like the first set of pictures that they started off showing. Now this is where the admixture started coming in at. Okay? Because this looked like this is somewhere in Vietnam or somewhere, you know what I mean? Cambodia, somewhere. That's what this right here looks, with this imagery here. Okay. Let's keep going. Honor, Lex, honor.
Indicator of citizenship or membership to the Hawaiian.
This is why they're cutting it. This is the scientist that I was telling you guys about. That, Pete, listen to what he says. And he's afraid to even say the word native. He's so afraid to say it. Watch his expression.
Kingdom, which throughout the 19th century was an independent country, independent state. Beginning in 1843, the Hawaiian Kingdom was actually the first non-European territory in the world to become.
Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me do something real quick. Okay. All right, hold on, because I don't see it. Give me a sec. Let me fix my stuff. One second, y'all. Because what they did was they logged me up my VPN. I didn't even know they could do that, and they blocking me from being able to turn on my VPN. Okay, that's what they're doing now. This is crazy. 1 second. I'm trying to get the VPN back on, but it won't come back on. One sec. Okay, this is how they're interfering with the thing. This is how they started interfering with it. One sec. I mean, it's okay. So it's showing when I click on it that it's orbit. Is yeah. They cut it. They cut it. All right. How could I get this back up and running? Okay. All right. Forget all this. Let me just play back the thing now for y'all. So this is what they was attacking the VPN. That's what they was attacking, the VPN. All right, so back up a little. Let's go right here. Let's play it. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Point on, 1843, the Kingdom of Hawaii is indeed recognized as an independent nation state.
As the monarch consolidated the archipelago as a sovereign state, the Kingdom of Hawaii also created a society of citizens with its own identity, an independent state.
In the 19th century, the term Hawaiian was an indicator of citizenship or membership to the Hawaiian Kingdom, which throughout the 19th century.
Now, Pete, this is where shit hit the fan, because you see them, even though they know that their other side, the other counterparts of their ancestors colonized, destroyed, genocide, raped, murdered, and pillaged their darker counterparts, they created a thing called a thing where they could adopt their colonizing ancestors into their culture. This is what they did. This is what they're speaking of. Let's back it up a little bit so y'all can really get the understanding of what they're speaking of.
An independent state.
When they thought they adopted an independent state, they created this. They created something else
century,
to pull in their colonizing counterparts. Okay, that's what they did. Okay.
The term Hawaiian was an indicator of citizenship or membership to the Hawaiian Kingdom, which throughout the 19th century was an independent country.
See, so that's why he said they created a thing for citizenship or membership to the Hawaiian Kingdom. So they created a thing to where it's open. This is why now when you're seeing these pale faces talk about their Hawaiian, or these Koreans and stuff talk about their Hawaiian, you're like, how? What? When since you're European, you're Asian. How are you Hawaiian? That's because of what he's talking about, that these folks started. Right? They give and I think this is like a mental thing, because this is where they're talking about where the blood matters. When the blood gets watered down, right? When the blood gets watered down, more folks who are more so in tune with their Negroid heritage, their pure American, Aboriginal American heritage, or those whom have a good portion of the blood still in them, still can feel the pain or still can identify with their darker counterparts. These folks can't. They can't identify with you like that. They're on some, well, I have a little bit of your blood in me, but I have more of their blood in me, so I'm going to still bring them in, knowing that the ones who are the paler counterparts, knowing that they don't like the darker counterparts, and that if they come into the society, they're going to raise those children, because they don't mate back with their darker counterparts. These folks don't mate back with the darker counterparts. They keep it light, bright, and keep it going. So their children is going to grow up not to like your children and discriminate against your children. Okay, and that being is going to come back to also another thing where they understand who's first, who's the original, who has the first and the real claim to the land, who are the heirs. Okay, so this is the issue also as well. So this is what is called genetic genocide. Okay. So they won't breed back with the darker counterpart. They won't do it. I ain't gonna say all of them, but some of them, they just won't do it. Hence, you wiped out an entire nationality, entire ethnic group of people. Right? Let's keep going though.
Independent state, beginning in 1843. The Hawaiian Kingdom was actually the first non-European territory in the world to become an independent and recognized state.
Pay attention. You see the Hawaiians? You see that? You see that? You see that? You see this? You see that? You don't see these people no more on the islands. You don't see them anymore. They've been wiped out genetically. Genetic genocide, genetic warfare, physical warfare with the guns, thrown into slavery because they took them from the Hawaiian Islands and shipped them all throughout the Americas. Like, this is what was going on. This is why when you go on slavevoyage.org, they can't give you a point of origin of where the slave ships was leaving from in intra-America slave trade. They can't give you that point of origin. They can tell you, well, the point of purchase happened in Brazil and the ship landed in Virginia. But where did the slaves come from? Where did they take the slaves from in the Americas? They would have to start telling you that, hey, we was taking these folks from St. Vincent. Hey, we was taking these folks from Hawaii. You see what I'm saying? From these places. That's where they was taking these folks from. Now, people think that there's a major war going on with these Caucasians and Asians. Asian. They are cousins. You see that 3, the number 3, You see the 3 horns of the triad. You see the 3-leaf clover. The 3, it represents. You see when the American flag, when it first had the 3 stars on it. The 3, it represents the pact, the treaty that 3 families, colonizing families of different ethnic groups took, and they still uphold that to this very day to manipulate and control this entire structure of system so that they can have a foothold always on the Americas and on our necks. Okay? Period. This is what it is. And then they throw in all their corporate entities that they try to pass off as religion, Catholicism, Christianity. You see what I'm saying? These things onto you. All right. Now, if you study religion, like Pete, I remember when my moms and them used to read the Bible to me, right? What I got out of it was this. The Catholics came after who they called the Hebrews. The Christians came after the Catholics. What I got was who they call the Hebrews are the first. Everything else after that is the corporate construct. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you trace back to whom they call Hebrews or who they call Israelites, when you trace back that lineage, it's going to go up into the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, Olmecs, and it's going to come back down into what you call Garifuna, Arawak, Lucayan, so on and so of these people, of the people of the Americas. So now they threw on foreign entities, Christianity, Catholicism, so on and so onto you to get you to not identify with your original spiritual practices. Okay? I'm telling y'all, like it's a lot. So once you stop identifying with that, now they stop identifying with their darker counterparts. There's tons of racist stories going on in Hawaii. Tons.
Sign of recognition of Hawaii's independence, several members of the Hawaiian royal family travel all over the world on official visits. They were welcomed by kingdoms and republics as the true representatives of a sovereign kingdom. In the meantime,
this is the queen. This is the former queen of Hawaii right here. Dark-skinned woman. You see her features? Her features is totally different from the Asians that they're trying to show. Totally different. Okay? They don't want this. This is the thing. Even the Dominicans on the Haitians island, even the Dominicans don't want to utter out their mouth about their darker counterpart. George Lopez once said something. George Lopez said it, and I think Jennifer Lopez also said it. The biggest shame to the pale Puerto Ricans and Dominicans in them, the pale Spaniards, is that when it comes to family picture time, they will hide the grandmother and grandfather in the closet and then take their pictures. You know why? Because grandma and grandpa were still dark-skinned. It was a shame to them because they thought a lot of what others might think. So they discriminated against their darker counterparts, even their own blood. Now, how history's being rewritten now today, they write in history to say that the dark-skinned man came from the Caucasian woman originally. That's what they're doing. Okay. Now we know originally in history, you have some portions of history that says they came from us. Well, they came from the Africans, right? Then you got some portions that said that they were create. I'm truthfully that part. I don't know. That whole creation in the lab part. I'm not really too fond of that story. I'm not really too sure. That's just, But anyway, let's keep going.
Western immigrants continue to arrive in Hawaii. By the start of the 19th century, a few American settlers were already living in the archipelago.
So as the American settler population continued to grow, their interest in business continued to grow. They oftentimes were pressuring the monarchs, pressuring the government to develop things, or for the government to develop and the economy to develop in a way that these settlers would find most comfortable.
You heard her? That they wanted the economy to develop in a way where the settlers will find more comfortable. That means they rigged it. They rigged the system so that it could work for them and don't work for you. They rigged the system so that them and their children can profit off of it, and you get the table scraps until they come and choose which one of you they want to have more than some table scraps. Okay? This is crazy. This is crazy.
A group of settlers, mainly American, formed an organization of landowners. They controlled the production of sugarcane. Their economic power ensured that their influence in the affairs of the kingdom increased.
So when we get to 1893, by that time, these foreign settlers, many of them who were invested in the plantation economy, were very strong in their opinions about how the government should continue. And when Liliuokalani, who was the Queen of Hawaii in 1893, when she proposed to bring forward a new constitution, a group of 13 businessmen calling themselves the...
Okay, here's the thing. When they destroyed the monarchy, they recruited her in as an Eastern Star. So she became a puppet. When they went and they took over Hawaii, Hawaii then fell underneath a postal code. Okay? That was the whole point, to have Hawaii fall underneath a postal code. All right? When they took away the monarchy, then they in their eyes, there's no more monarchy. There's no more king and queen. Right? There's just the council and the what they call the puppet queen now. Okay. You know, this is so deep because if Hawaii still had their monarchy and Hawaii had a monarchy, that means all the other islands and the mainland still had kings and empresses. Still had those. Okay. So that goes back to, again, like I said, the crowns are your crowns. The royal crest, the seals, the family crest, the family seals, the family flags. These are your things that's being used back on you.
The Annexation Club and the Committee of Safety, they took it upon themselves to overthrow the Queen or to remove her from the government. And they did this in conjunction or with the approval, it would seem, of the U.S. minister to the Hawaiian Kingdom, Minister Stevens. And so he was totally misrepresenting his
A minister. Okay, let's go.
Position by essentially conspiring with this group to take over the Queen's government.
In the Constitution, Queen Liliuokalani only gave the right to vote to those citizens who were considered natives of Hawaii. The settlers feared that they may lose their political and economic power. On the 17th of January 1893, U.S. troops landed in Hawaii.
Now, when I tell you today that when you see the military doing PSYOPs exercises on the home front, they're preparing for you. They ain't preparing for nothing else. They're preparing for you for the wake up. That's what they're preparing for you to go at it with you. Like how they just had the military ships, like how they had these military ships in their waters to intimidate these people to do exactly what they wanted them to do. Okay?
Arguing that they were there to protect the rights of the settlers. Queen Liliuokalani was arrested and taken to the royal palace of Lolani. She was forced to abdicate because of the military superiority of the invaders. The conspirators took advantage of the end of the monarchy to take control of the archipelago. They created the so-called Republic of Hawaii. However, the inhabitants of the islands did not accept such imposition and took action.
This is when the people of
Oh, so now, Pete, that's what I forgot to say. So when those military ships and the military came in, what they're not telling you is that they were going around slaughtering folks on that island. The Negroid folks on the island, they was going around chopping their heads off. Okay, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. It was over 30,000 of them. Okay, so this is also another reason why you're not seeing as much of the Negroid people of Hawaii on the island. That and the fact that they was taking them off the island and shipping them up and down the Americas as slaves, right? Captured prisoners of war, i.e. a slave. Okay? Let's go.
Hawaii gather together in a couple of huis or groups that protest against annexation with a petition asking
Yeah, if you guys can hear me, press 1. Press 1 if you guys can hear me. All right, cool. All right, let's go.
that the United States recognize that the people of Hawaii who have signed this petition do not want to be a part of the United States.
See,
do not wish
they never gave up
annexed.
their nationality, their sovereignty.
38,000 people in total signed these petitions out of a Native Hawaiian population.
You heard that? 38,000 people signed the petition to not give up their nationality, their sovereignty, right? That's the 38,000 that ended up missing. All heads was gone. All their heads was gone. Like what they did in Africa, in the Congo, and the other places in Africa when they were trying to conquer their lands. They chopped off the heads of all their leaders, right? In Africa, and put them on display. Because remember now, England had a museum with hundreds of heads, of Negroid heads. Probably a couple thousand, truthfully. Probably a couple thousand of Negroid heads in England. So that's their thing, to chop choppy heads off if, they want the intimidation factor to kick in.
That was close to 40,000.
The petition did not succeed. On the 12th of August 1898, in a ceremony that took place in front of the Lolani Palace, the old residence of the Hawaiian monarchs, the flag of the kingdom was taken down, and an American flag was raised.
See, this is why, again, I tell people, protect your seal, protect your flag, protect these things. Now, the reason why the petition didn't work was because they couldn't find those people. They're not telling you that. They're not going to tell you that. Okay? He was just gone.
The annexation of Hawaii brought a process of Americanization in the local society. This process included the imposition of an educational system that marginalized the values of the local population. The local language was replaced by that of the settlers.
In 1896, under the authority of the Republic of Hawaii.
Peep how they drew the Hawaiian children. Peep how they drew the Hawaiian children. Come on now. Back it up. Back it up. Here we go.
The authority of the Republic of Hawaii.
Oh, come on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Society.
Here we go.
This process included the imposition of an educational system that marginalized the values of the local population. The local language was...
Look, when they talk about the local language, look. This is how they drew the locals. Can't make this stuff up. I told you they show you who you are in their stuff. You just have to be keen enough to look for it. All right.
Was replaced by that of the settlers.
In 1896, under the authority of the Republic of Hawaii, a law was passed that stated that all public school instruction must take place in English. So they didn't outright ban Hawaiian, but in effect they did, because they said to everyone, you must learn English, you must use English.
Now this is to detach you from the culture, because they know, look, who are these people? These are little Korean and Chinese children. These are not Hawaiian. These are not the imagery of the Hawaiians that they were showing before, right? Maybe this young man over here is this dark-skinned young man over here, but these folks, you could clearly see that they're Asian, Chinese, Koreans, probably Japanese. Clearly you can see it, and they're not clearly. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, who are these people? Yeah.
And only English in your schools. And so parents became much more reluctant to use Hawaiian language in their homes, and certainly in the...
Yeah, so they killed the language to disassociate you from the language and the land. That's how they killed the language and gave you the bastardized version of English.
Schools, many children were reprimanded for using Hawaiian language when they were expected to be using English.
Wow. So they were punishing children for using for using their natural tongue, the Hawaiian language, for using it, right? They'll punish them for that. So literally, you know what I mean? They intimidated them to the extent to where they didn't want to speak their own native or original tongue anymore. Okay. So, wait. Give me 1 sec, y'all.
They were expected to be using English.
Is when the U.S. took over our education. There and when they took our language, they took our land, they took our identity, and they nearly succeeded in taking our will to live.
At the same time, the United States passed a law which determined who was and who was not a Hawaiian.
Around 1920, you start to see this legislation being passed in U.S. Congress that kind of begins to define legally through U.S. law what is considered a Native Hawaiian. In that bill, U.S. congressional law, you have, for the first time, this understanding of blood quantum, that Native Hawaiians, right, are legally defined as those that possess half Native.
You see how hard it is for him to say it? You see how, and he still ain't say it fully, because he said, half Native blood. But what kind of Native are they talking about? What complexion? You see how hard? It's hard for them. Hard for them. Let's go.
Blood, right? Or 50% Native blood. So you can
back it up a little so that you can hear clear.
You have, for the first time, this understanding of blood quantum, that Native Hawaiians, right, are legally defined as those that possess um, half native blood, right, or 50% native blood. So you can really start to see American racial logic being institutionalized within Hawaii, and that lasts for a very long time, even till this day, right? These terms, Native Hawaiian or Hawaiian, are now defined through U.S. law within the context of blood quantum.
1/32 of Trump is still Hawaiian.
And this is the ignorance. You see this? This is what they believe. Even if it's one drop of blood, it's still Hawaiian. But the thing is, these folks stop accepting any dark of you counterparts that they have, and they sympathize more with the colonizers, with their colonizing counterparts, and their colonizing counterparts passed a law in their Senate and Congress, right, stating that they have to have at least 50% of the original blood. You can't make this stuff up. Let's hear what they're saying. Eight. That's what blood quantum
within Hawaii, and that lasts for a very long time, even till this day, right? These terms, Native Hawaiian or Hawaiian, are now defined through U.S. law within the context of blood quantum.
1/32 of Trump is still Hawaiian. But they said, oh, according to their law, you have to have 50%. That's bullhead. Hey, they can get lost. We don't need them coming over here and telling us what to do and what not to do. So, as far as blood quantum is concerned, I'd say they committed in genocide. Big time.
And what it said, as far as blood quantum is concerned, they committed genocide, big time, right? But they still more so accept their colonizing counterpart than they do their darker view counterpart. That's the crazy part about it. That's the crazy part. All right. I don't know if y'all can hear me now. All right. All right. So what they did was they hacked back my VPN. They're trying to hack the VPN. Well, they try to hack the VPN to shut it down. Right? That's what they're trying to do. Because right here, the part of the video, and they're doing that key parts of the video that's coming up, right? That I'm going to break down to you guys to show you guys something. Right here, at this part of the video is also another important part. See, look, it shows that the hacker is in here with me, right? Because look, this is showing that there's two people in here. I'm here, but this person is they're ghosting themselves. This is the hacker right up here. So what they're doing is they're signing me out of my they're exiting me out of the stream when they reach to certain parts of the thing, and they're the same ones trying to hit me with copyright things for the channel at the same time. All right, but anyway, here we go. We ain't gonna let that stop us. F them. Fair use, all rights and liberties reserved. Let's go. I'll keep going. And they also do that when they see that the live stream is pulling in a substantial amount of people. Okay. Let's back it up a little. We're gonna let it load up. Wait for it to load. Wait for it to load.
At the same time,
So here we go.
the United States passed a law which
Contestant 18, your word is Cathlopistemiad. Cathlopistemiad.
There's
which determined who was and who was not a Hawaiian.
Now, all right. So see, like I said, the hacker's in here, right here. All right, cool. So here we go. See, like I said, the hacker is here. This is the hacker up here. So this is the person that's doing it that keeps signing me out. Okay? Only if I can get them all to show themselves. But anyway, give me 1 second, y'all. Because they also disrupted my VPN. Give me a sec. Cheeky bastards. All right. Where are we? Here we go. Video. Like I said, we have up until 14 minutes of video to critique of anyone's stuff. All right. I'm at 12 minutes and 35 seconds within the video. So I'm not even at 14 minutes. So they need to relax. Okay. So let's play it.
To define legally through U.S. law what is considered a Native Hawaiian. In that bill, U.S.
Nah, Achata Haya. Nah, I don't have one. All right, let's go.
Congressional law, you have for the first time this understanding of blood quantum, that Native Hawaiians, right, are legally defined as those that possess half native blood, right, or 50% native blood. So you can really start to see American racial logic being institutionalized within Hawaii.
Yeah, I don't.
That lasts for a very long time, even until this day, right? These terms Native Hawaiian or Hawaiian are now defined through U.S. law within the context of blood quantum.
Hear that? So to be Hawaiian, it's defined through blood quantum. Now, this is what they're about to change the system here on the mainland too, to where you're going to have to start showing your genealogy, right? Meaning you're going to have to start showing who are your great grandparents and so on and so on. So you think you're going to run up there with this DNA test and say, oh, that DNA test is going to take your ass back to Africa. You're going to have the documentations, your historical archives. You see what I'm saying? This is what you're going to have to start having to prove exactly who you are. But it's so crazy because now because we're not united enough, a lot of folks are going to have to start proving who they are to a colonizing force who's foreign to them. Okay? Let's keep going.
Second of Trump is still Hawaiian. But they say, oh, according to their law, you have to have 50%. That's bullhead.
It's not bull, because they know that they replicated back themselves. What they did was this. Remind you, where these folks came from, the biggest killer was cancer because of heat boils that they were getting on their skin. All of their deficiencies that they had, they knew that they could fix that by mixing blood with you, by bringing forth a child with you, and it will start fixing more so. Then they knew the period of time frame of how much time they could reprocreate with you to breed you out. Okay? To breed you out or to lighten down your numbers. All right? So it's not bull doodle. It's literally genocide. They use sex as a form of warfare for genocide and heal themselves of a lot of deformities. That's literally what they did. Okay? Yeah, I know I do need a hacker to be the hacker, but I don't know anybody. You know what I mean? No, I'm gonna have to hire a tech person, but I was just I'm just waiting for some stuff because, like I said, when I finish certain things up that I finish, I'm just gonna just take my stuff down to the like the marshal's office or something and just have it investigated to see what's going on. And if they do track it and it is hacked like I think it is, then and they find a person, I'm going to press charges on. Well, they're going to press charges anyway because hacking is a terroristic offense. All right, let's go.
Yeah, they can get lost. We don't need them coming over here and telling us what to do and what not to do. So, as far as blood quantum is concerned, I'd say they committed genocide.
Yeah, but he just, you know what I mean? Like, he's saying they could get lost or whatever. But the fact still remains is this. After 3-4 generations, they come back to looking like this. Like how this man look here like this. This video clip there. They come back to looking like their colonizing counterpart more so. So this is why they're letting them know, like, yo, like, look, you got to be 50% because anything less than the 50% of the Negroid blood, then you're not Negroid anymore. You're going to be considered to be Caucasian. You know, this is what it is. So they're telling them the truth to their face. They're gonna have more blonde hair, blue eyes, so on and so. Right? All right, let's continue.
Big time. Big time.
This process of Americanization and the imposition of rules that were alien to the local
Colonizers.
culture led to the violation of native sacred land.
And what they just said, it led to the violation of sacred land.
The place they call Walmart on Kemoku Street and Makaloa Street.
Now, this is the part that I want y'all to hear, right? Because, all right, so Pete, his family, they still have the title, the deed to the land that they built the Walmart on. So his family owns that title, the deed, right? To that land. But they still built the Walmart on top of it. What they found was a grave with 60 bodies also in it. Okay? On his land that they built the Walmart at. So those are 60 of his people, or they were killing people for the land. Like they were killing people for the land to build their stuff on top of the land. So I'll let him tell a story. Let him tell a story.
It just happened that my family had ownership papers to 8.5 acres, and that's where they put their store on. They found 66 sets of bones that were buried on that property grounds, and it took 7 years to get through all the mitigations and all whatever for us to put the bones back in the ground. And all we're trying to do is respect our own ancestors.
Pet Cemetery,
you
that
know,
movie.
It would be really interesting if some of us went up to Punch Bowl, where the American veterans are buried, and go up there and tear out some of those graves and put up a fancy building.
Yeah, they would kill that person.
The United States did not settle for the annexation of Hawaii, the suppression of the local language, and the desecration of hallowed land.
So these are the men that created the United States, created Hawaii to be another state of the United States. So these are the men that pays for the military and all these things to go out there and attack our ancestors to take their land or force them to be a part of their corporate entity, which is what is called a state. Okay? These men. Faces of these men. Now look at his pocket right here. You see the flag that he's flying right here? So now when you see these police uniforms with the it no longer has a red stripe, but the black stripe going through the flag on their uniforms. I'm telling you, man, telling signs. Now this right here with the hand tucked into the shirt, that's called a hidden hand, right? So they are the hidden hand of the hidden ones who turned Hawaii illegally into a state. This is Masonic. This is the hidden hand. This person right here has let them know where I'm upholding the secret. We're still going to uphold the secret. We'll take it to the grave. Okay? That's what this is.
They wanted statehood.
See? So when they forced statehood upon the Hawaiians, statehood takes away sovereignty. It makes you no longer sovereign. It makes you not have a nationality. Okay? But because the Hawaiians never gave up and never reneged of who they are, okay? They never gave up. They never gave in. They still kept to who they are, who their ancestors were at that time. They still stuck with it. Let's keep on. We're about to wrap it up real soon, though.
They wanted to turn Hawaii into a new state of the Union. On the 12th of March, 1959, the U.S. Congress overwhelmingly voted in favor of statehood, so Hawaii became the 50th state of the Union.
It's made official at the White House. President Eisenhower congratulates the new congressional representatives of Hawaii before the are simple ceremonies that remake the geography of the United States, adding the 50th and southernmost state with a land area of 6,500 miles and a population of 600,000.
This is what they did to us. All of this is illegal. All of that is illegal. All of it is illegal. Doesn't stand, don't matter. All of it is illegal. Okay? I'll let it play out a little bit more, and then we're going to cut it. And then that's going to be it.
Hawaii becomes a state of the United States in 1959. Of course, if annexation was illegal and overthrow was illegal, then many believe statehood is also an illegal event. So you certainly continue to have debate here in Hawaii as to whether or not Hawaii is a state. But officially, according to the United States, in 1959.
It is not surprising, then, that President Bill Clinton sanctioned a law whereby his government apologized for the dispossession the local population had been victims of. The law recognized that the people of Hawaii had not voluntarily relinquished their rights, nor had they accepted the abolition of their kingdom.
You don't need to be a lawyer, really, to understand. If the criminal admits to committing a crime against you, and further admits that you never relinquished your rights, i.e. your property was stolen and you never relinquished your rights to the property, you don't need to be a lawyer to understand that according to that the Hawaiians have one of the best claims, if not the best claim, for independence once again.
So that bill really should have apologized to the national population. But that wordage of saying national population would kind of throw off, right, the political intent of that bill, to kind of sidestep, right, or kind of erase that history that it was a kingdom.
Why did the Americans do it? That was the first question I asked when I heard about the apology bill. It was an intent to defraud the Hawaiian nation, the Hawaiian people even further.
The apology bill was followed by several resolutions proposed by a senator for Hawaii, Daniel Akaka, to be implemented by the year 2000. His intention was to pass a law that would give Native Hawaiians federal recognition.
All right, y'all. All right, so I think I'm back. Yeah, all right, I'm back. I'm back. All right, so we're gonna wrap it right here, though. Right, we're gonna wrap it right here. So I think I made my point. I get the gist of what's going on. Everything right now is genetic genocide, all sorts of different type of attacks on all fronts. All right. So again, look, the whole thing to push Pan-Africanism, ADOS, all this stuff on you is to take you away from your nationality. All right. That's what it's for. It's to take you away from your nationality. Right? To have you focus on the census and all this type of stuff is to take you away from the nationality. Okay. But we could cut it right here. We could cut this right here. All right. We cut that right there. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'm still going to redo this back on the D Live anyway, right? So within the week, I am going to redo it back on the D Live. So it will be up and running. It will be there. So if everyone if folks come over to the D Live, y'all will be able to see that live, right? Y'all will be able to see that live stream. So if you don't know what D Live is, let me show y'all what D Live is. If you don't know what D Live is, D Live. There we go. So this is my D Live platform right here. All right. So if you haven't signed up, just sign up for D Live, then come over and click follow and follow me on D Live. All right. So I'm gonna God damn it, what did I just do? I say here we go. So I'm gonna God damn it. I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you guys. All right. Because I already know they banned this video. I already know they banned it. But something was just telling me it doesn't matter. Just put it out there for you guys, because I can then, once the video finish uploading, even if they banned it, I can pull the video and I could download the video and store it on an external hard drive, and then or play the video, but play it on the D Live. I could play it through the D Live. All right. So it's still going to be played. So play it so that it can be stored on the D Live. All right. So that's the link, y'all. So like I said, just click the link, hit sign up if you haven't signed up, and then follow, and you'll be a part of my D Live family here. And like I said, when I start dropping like when I start doing the rest of my live streams, it's going to be on D Live. When I'm dropping what I'm learning about law and stuff, is going to be on D Live. I got some stuff planning coming up for the D Live also as well. And we're going to redo this one right here also on the D Live. It's a couple of them that we're going to redo on the D Live, because I already know that they try to ban this one, right? That they try to ban it. But again, there's nothing there to ban. It's nothing there to ban. I don't care what their policy says. Their policy is not law. At the end of the day, their policy is not law. Their policy don't trump law. They're a public forum. They're a public entity. They're a public company. They're in the public. So hence, they don't have no authority to silence freedom of speech. Okay? So the reason these videos are out there in the world, they're out there to be critiqued. You can critique the video as a member of the press, and I am a member of the press. Okay? So you can critique the video. Period. They do this kind of thing after they have watered the population down with their blood. So basically, when they admit what they did, they are apologizing to themselves. Exactly. And that's what that old dude in Hawaii don't get. Like, if a Negroid right now goes to Hawaii, he's going to face massive discrimination. Massive discrimination. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to me. But again, it is what it is. But again, folks, this is the D Live. Just click on the link in the chat. The link is also going to be below the video. And the video might not even exist. They might ban the video for a while, so you might not even be able to see the video after this. But for the ones who are hearing me now, again, just click on the link, sign up, and follow me on D Live. You can download the app if you're always on the go, download your app on your tablet or your phone, or or you could log in through the website. All right. So yeah, this is crazy. Nonstop. They had to attack the VPN nonstop tonight. Nonstop. Oh man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But like I said, like to all y'all out there, man, that joined the live, that joined the feed. I thank you all very much. You know, Brother Lex, well, good looking. I'm passing through. You know, it's just, you know, like I said, man, look, it's a lot to this history. It's a lot of occultness to this history. It's a lot of hidden meanings that they throw in front of your face to this history. And it's more so a corporate thing, all right, about this history. It's more so a corporate thing, you know, and it's people spreading a lot of falsehood because they're getting paid to do so. Okay, that fiat dollar that they think they're getting paid some real money for. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Indigo Sanders, honor. Um, Geechee Girl, honor to you, honor. Aboriginal Chief Rami, honor to you. Sword of Truth and Justice, honor to you. Ray Ford Matthew, honor to you. Lexwell, honor to you. Yaguwa Z-Tech, honor to you. I think I said what's up to everybody else already. Yeah. The Green Onions, honor. But yeah. So, you know, again, man, like I say to you all, I wish you all a prosperous and safe night, day, afternoon, evening, depending on the time zone that you are in. Much love, much respect to you all. Nothing but positive wishes, positive vibes put into your direction, and positive vibes to those who you hold positive around you, and everything that you hold positive in your environment. Wish nothing but the best for all of you and your loved ones, period. Okay? Again, the link to the D Live will be also below the video. If the video does upload, below the video in the description box, click the link. The Discord link would also be there. If the video don't upload, just go on any one of my videos from the past week, and the links, all my links will be there. And the link to the D Live, the link to the Discord, the link to the Teespring, everything will be there. And you just add them to a saved list of yours, or you know, just click on the D Live link again, sign up, follow. If you haven't followed me on D Live or signed up yet, if you are following me on D Live, if you had signed up already, all you got to do is just go over and click follow, or just make sure that you are currently still following me. All right, and if you're not, just hit back refollow. All right, but I say, you know, peace and love and light to you all. David Clarence. Oh, yeah. Tons of information from David. Tons of information. Tons. Okay. But I say honor to you all. And to the hacker, to the troll that's in here with me, honor to you all also as well. I have like a few ideas. All right. Peace to you all.